So here's me making the Supermalt cake. First I've started by mixing in some softened butter. I'll put all of the ingredients and measurements in the description bar below. I then whisked it so it was nice and soft. I then added in the dark muscovado sugar. I wanted to use muscovado sugar because it has a very deep, rich flavour. I gave that a nice whisk. I then added in 2 eggs. There are different methods for adding in eggs. Sometimes I put it in a bowl first, I crack the eggs into a bowl and then transfer it in. And sometimes I just put the eggs straight in. But I'm careful to make sure that there are no eggshells in there, and I always check. Added in some flour, I sifted it in first. I always like to sift in flour. I added in some malt extract and sifted in both the flour and the malt. I added in baking powder and baking soda and vanilla extract, and I gave it a whisk. I also added in my syrup, which I made out of Supermalt. And of course, I added in Supermalt itself. So why Supermalt cake? So I decided to make Supermalt cake because of my friend. One of my friends, she really loves Supermalt. Like, I've never met anybody that loves Supermalt as much as she does. And I was like, okay, let me just give it a shot. Why not try something different? Does Supermalt work well in a cake? And then added in some evaporated milk. So Supermalt is a non-alcoholic drink that's malty and made with water, barley and hops. It has a strong malty taste. And then that was it with the ingredients. And I put everything in small cake tins and then put it in the oven and baked. I also put it in cupcakes as well, and I made it in a whole cake too. And it's a really nice cake. It's very malty, because of the amount of malt that I put in there, so it was nice and malty, which complemented the Supermalt really well. It's a nice cake. So to decorate the cake, I traced the image that's on the Supermalt bottle. And then I rolled out fondant, and I used fondant to make the image that's synonymous with Supermalt on the cake. I used fondant to make a colour that was very close to the Supermalt label. And that was mixing a lot of orange and red and brown. It took quite a while to get pretty close. and I rolled it out nice and flat. I used a cookie cutter to cut out letterings that spelled Supermalt. And the history of Supermalt, which I didn't know, I just looked up on their website. It was first introduced by the Nigerian Army in 1972 as a healthy food supplement to re-energize the troops. Wow, I did not know that, which I find really interesting because I always did notice when I was growing up that Supermalt was always at every single Nigerian party I went to, all of them. And I just thought, oh, why is it so popular? I guess I know why. And it's also popular around Africa, the Caribbean, UK, and probably many other parts of the world as well. And then I decorated the cake. To make the buttercream, I used my usual buttercream recipe and I added some of the Supermalt syrup to that recipe. And the Supermalt syrup that I made is a mixture of treacle, sugar, Supermalt, and I used that syrup in the cake and also in the buttercream as well to give it a nice super malty taste. And I just place the lettering of Supermalt on the cake in a similar position to where it would be if this was a bottle. I just wanted to make the decoration inspired by the Supermalt bottle. I did my favourite swirl on top. And I added in some gold sprinkles. I painted that wheat image with gold, which was the closest colour I could get to match the goldy colour on the Supermalt bottle. I added more gold and then it dripped. But I just wiped it with a tissue afterwards and tried to smooth it down a bit. So let me know if you give this recipe a try, and let me know what you think about the flavour. Do you like Supermalt, and can you taste it? And if you enjoy it, and are you a Supermalt lover? And there we are, Supermalt inspired, Supermalt flavoured cake.